Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to my Hyperion progression series. We are currently on part 25 I believe, and today we have a pretty exciting episode I'd say. If you guys didn't see the previous part, we managed to get our 2-set arcane. We finished buying our arcane weapon. We got it from using the droplets from Hard Will, and we managed to get this beautiful weapon. It has a fantastic potential with boss and 2 lines of magic attack. And we even have a pretty strong soul. It has 7% boss damage, and on top of that it has a pretty decent flame at a tier 6 attack flame. And on top of that we Starforced our glove up, so now it's actually usable. It has a pretty fine flame, usable potential with 1 line of stat plus 1 line of crit damage, which is pretty good for what we're looking for. And with this, we're going to try to do some new bosses. These 2 pieces of equipment have really pushed our progression. It is insane the amount of attack. If you guys didn't see on the previous part, comparing the arcane to the Absolab, it is not even close. It is over 250 weapon attack more on the arcane staff, and just by looking at the range alone, it is a significant increase. And now we're going to try our best to do some new bosses like I said, and the first one I want to try to do in about 8 minutes actually is going to be Hard Lucid. In 8 minutes, I'm going to get the event buff that we have currently with the Konosuba event. So if I timed it correctly, it should give us some little bit of extra boss damage and IED. And we're going to use that alongside everything that we can possibly buff up to try to do Hard Lucid. For those who don't know why it has been so difficult for me to do Hard Lucid, is that during the final phase of the fight, you have to be able to do 14 trillion damage in about 40 seconds. So for a lot of classes actually, it's not too difficult because in MapleStory now, a lot of the classes are actually pretty burst oriented, but unfortunately I decided to play a class that is more DPM oriented, so a lot of my damage is spread over the fight as opposed to in one chunk. I actually tried to do Hard Lucid not too long ago just to see if I had the damage, and I barely failed. You can see I actually failed with 3% left in P3. So today it is actually technically a rematch. I didn't plan on trying to clear it with that proper recording, but I just wanted to see what my damage was, and if I managed to clear it, great, but I didn't. So today we're going to try to run it back and see if we can get that clear. And I guess the most important thing is to make sure that I have all the buffs that I can possibly get. The main difference that I didn't have on the first run is I didn't actually have Tengu because I used it previously for a different boss. I believe that was the same day that I cleared Sea Gloom on the reset. So now today I actually have Tengu that I can use. I can also use a Fame buff, which I didn't have available to me before. And I have some consumables that are ready to go as well. That being said, I'm going to go and prepare and set up my links, my legion, my fams, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in a little bit when we're going to try to do Hard Lucid. Hopefully, we'll be able to get the clear. But again, the most difficult part is just that final phase. I should be able to stay alive the entirety of the fight, and I should be able to clear it within the time limit pretty easily. But again, it's just that last phase where I have to do 14 trillion damage. I really have to do everything right, and we'll just see how it goes. Oh my god. That was so close. Literally down to the last couple of seconds. I honestly messed up as well. I didn't even get to put down my last summon. But I remembered to put my will skill in this time. I didn't do that in the last burst, but holy, that was way too close. I spent so much time just waiting for the last platform in the middle to break to get that clear. But yeah, we did it. We finally can do hard lucid. Only took us like having a pretty strong arcane weapon and a little bit more from our glove to be able to do that, but that's fine. What matters now is that we can actually do 14 trill in 40 seconds. I don't know why that was so much adrenaline for me. It's not even technically that hard of a boss, but it's kind of nice knowing that we can do a new boss now. It does require quite a lot of preparation to do, so I'm kind of hoping that I can make some pretty good gains before the next time I have to reattempt hard lucid, but yeah, let's just get out of here. Alright, nothing dropped from lucid this week, but one big upgrade actually, other than the crystal being a lot more expensive, is the fact that we can get 3 droplets per week now from lucid. So this should speed up our arcane gains. I think this will cut down at least 2 weeks of doing lucid. That way I'll be able to buy my 3rd piece of arcane, which will probably be the boots. I don't think that I will be buying the cape next, because I do have a spare cape here that is really strong that I might consider using. But for now though, we didn't get anything, but that's okay. More droplets, just another boss we can get arcanes from, and also chance of ring, chance of twilight mark, all that good stuff. So super exciting. And yeah, just another boss down. Now with lucid done, that adds a whole new boss into our rotation. It's a lot of extra money, and yeah, it's just such a nice piece of progress. And given that we can only get stronger from now, hopefully it is not so difficult to be able to clear the boss. I did still kind of struggle with P3. It only had about 3 or 4 seconds remaining on the clock when I cleared it, I think. And yeah, that is still a little bit too tight for my liking, and I did buff quite a lot. I had to wait for the event buff. I have the EXP one at the moment, but about an hour ago I did have to go get the event buff. I really had to do everything, including things like fame buff and also using Tengu, which I currently don't have access to, which is a little bit annoying because I can only use it once per day, so I won't be able to use it for any other bosses for the rest of today. Which is a shame, because I would really like to use it again, because I want to try another boss on top of this. I think I'll have a decent attempt at the next boss, because it's not so much a heavy DPS check in one phase. It's just going to be a whole DPM boss, so I don't have to worry too much about having perfect burst or anything like that. So the next boss that I'm going to give a try at is actually going to be hard V healer. At the end of the last part, I thought I had to do normal V healer to try to get a drop, to try to get my arcane weapon, but I figured if I didn't do this, and I just buy my weapon off of will, I can actually attempt hard V healer. Now hard V healer actually is twice the amount of HP as normal V healer, so I don't know if I can actually do it. But because of the gains that I've made, and I already had a 20-minute run or so in normal V healer, I might be able to kind of push it through. I'm not exactly sure if I have the damage required for it, but I think it'd be worth trying, because V healer, hard V healer at least, drops a pretty good ring box if you manage to get the clear. It's in the highest tier of ring boxes. She also drops arcane equips, of course, and she also drops the Source of Suffering, which is the best in slot pendant. So I'm gonna go grab some buffs, and I'm gonna give V healer a try. I do have everything up again, including things like my G skills, so yeah, we're just gonna give it a go. So for this fight, I actually wanted to do a little bit of commentary, because spoiler alert, this first fight I actually didn't manage to clear. It was because of a multitude of things, but the first thing that I wanted to point out was me setting up my burst right here. This is the beginning of the fight, and it's almost a whole minute into the fight, and I still haven't used my origin yet. So I spent about a minute setting up, which is far too slow, and I actually missed the beginning of my origin burst as well, because she teleported. So overall, it kind of started off on a bad foot. I just did not set up very well. And in a long fight like this, you really need everything that you can get. Another thing that really messed me up was I was kind of taking way too much damage. Just kind of getting used to the boss, even though it is the same as normal V healer. The timing for the test is a lot stricter, so I felt like a lot of pressure for no reason. And here, I get caught by a string right after my first cleanse, and I panicked and I went for a second cleanse. not realizing that the timer is a lot shorter, so I started off the fight immediately on 2 lives. We're only like 3 minutes in, I'm already on permanently 2 lives. Surprisingly though, playing on 2 lives wasn't too bad because it let me cleanse pretty often to be able to heal and replenish my mana. And that was actually a problem that I had throughout the fight where I ran out of mana a lot because of mana overload. Mana overload takes up a lot of mana every time you attack, so it was a little bit annoying. But yeah, there's not really much you can do about it. So I tried to make the best of what I had. Just in terms of my pacing here, you can see I'm about 7 minutes in and I am barely 75% of the way through. So in terms of my pacing, it's really tight. It's kind of hard to gauge whether or not I was clearable in this particular run, but the way I was playing, it was a little bit on the slower side. So already it was all those things combining, just rough test and also my rough first burst. But overall, the fight kind of went on decently well. I feel like I played pretty clean, using my hero's will and dodging all the mechanics as best I could. Just trying to stay alive, basically. But because I was focused so much on staying alive, I don't think that I did very much damage. With about 10 minutes left on the fight, by this point I should have gone through at least 2/3 of the HP, but you can see it is roughly 35%, so in this particular run I was a little bit off pace. It was most likely because I spent so much time trying to stay alive and not actually getting hit by things. Spent a lot of time just healing, dodging, and because I only had 1 life to spare with the string, I spent a lot of time having to actually just cleanse, whereas if I had more lives to play with, I wouldn't spend so much time cleansing. And then I'm coming towards the end of the fight here, so what ended up happening was, right here, I was setting up my burst, everything's all good, and then I noticed that her HP bar isn't really going down. And I'm taking so much damage and nothing's happening. And then my game crashes. So this is not actually the video freezing, it's this is actually my recording. It just froze on me and yeah, I'm not really sure if that fight was actually clearable. You can see it crashed to my OBS home screen. I'm not really sure if that was clearable, but here are my thoughts after the fight. So my game crashed at the end of that, so unfortunately we didn't get to get the full run in before my game just froze and then died on me. I'm not really sure what happened. Might have been my exit lag or my connection just freezing up for a second. But yeah, well, we didn't get to try the full run. But just based off of my experience of that particular run, it did feel like I had just enough damage to clear it. So I think overall I'm not too fussed about the damage and my survivability. It just kind of came down to whether or not I could squeeze in and maximize everything in that 30-minute span. And it felt like it was very close. Whether or not I can clear it, I have to find out another day, because I think I should try it with Tengu and with Fame Buff for it to be a real attempt. It looked pretty tight, and yeah, all I can say is it's just going to come down to practice, and it's going to be a full 30-minute run as well, but that's pretty exciting. Hard V Healer is a gigantic jump, and getting a better chance at arcane weapons and boxes, and on top of that, a chance at a Source of Suffering is so worthwhile trying to do. Oh, third time's the charm to get the clear on hard V healer. The first crash was pretty disappointing. The second run where I just died out, I was really upset about that dying out because it was a HP death. So I decided this run to put in an extra HP fam. So I have 2 fams with 2 lines. So that's 4 lines of healing for me. And yeah, this was the fastest run that I've done so far. The pacing of it was so much better than any other run that I've had. Oh, it feels so good to get this boss out of the way. Another boss that we can do on this account. I can't believe it, honestly. Like, the account has progressed so far. And our second Chaos Tenebrous boss out of the way here. Just gonna swap over into my drop gear, of course, and we'll see what we can get. Man, it feels good to get another boss done. It's just another boss that we can get chances of arcanes from, and this one's super exciting too because we have a chance of getting a pitch boss item as well, the Source of Suffering. Very unlikely that we'll get it, but here we go, guys. We got our hard V healer clear. No drops, but that's fine. We finally got another boss out of the way, and it's also the first time that we managed to get something called these Shadow of Annihilation, so you actually need these to even enter into Black Mage. So that's just one step closer to Black Mage. I have to clear V healer to even enter the boss, and yeah, there you go, guys. We got our hard V healer clear as well. With V healer done, let's go ahead and sell the crystal. It's gonna be a pretty big one. 550 mil for a hard V healer solo. That is a huge amount of money, and this recovers a little bit because I actually upgraded my sacred symbol not too long ago. It's currently level 8 now, so that did cost a little bit of money, so recovering that is very, very nice. And I just wanted to talk a little bit as well. It has been a few days since I cleared V healer. I wanted to talk about, I guess, my main gain. I recently finished up my Hexa stat. You can see here, this is the final numbers for it. I hit 4, 6, 10, so it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy that I hit at least 10 on one of these. I don't really want to talk too much about Hexa stat because at the end of the day, it's just kind of up to RNG, and I just got lucky enough to hit a 10 on one of them, so that is pretty nice. Regarding my other things as well, my nodes are getting pretty close to getting maxed. I believe my last 3 nodes to max are my Goddess, Infantry, and Mana Overload, so once these guys are maxed, I might consider making other characters to put nodes on, but for now though, until these are maxed, I'm going to invest all my nodes into my main. To round out this video, I want to go ahead and try one more boss. Today, again, is a new day for me, so I do have my Tengu back, which is very convenient. This will allow me to attempt a new boss, and as I was talking before, I would like to try to do hard Dark Nail. It's the final boss in Chaos Tenebrous that I can do, and if I manage to clear this boss, it's all the Arcane River bosses that can drop an Arcane box. Unfortunately, this boss doesn't drop a good pitch boss, but that's okay. We're just here to be able to get another boss done with another chance at Arcane boxes to save us the extra money that we would spend to buy the armors, to buy the droplets, and yeah, just another chance at ring boxes as well. So I'm going to go ahead and prep for Dark Nail. It's just ticked over to half past the even hour for me, so I do get the Konosuba buff. Once I set everything up, I'm going to give a go at hard Dark Nail to see if we can actually do it. I don't know if I have the full damage to clear the boss, but given that it has less HP than V healer, it should be clearable. So I'll see you guys in just a sec. So that was my first hard Dark Nail try, and I gotta be honest, that was probably one of the worst bosses I've ever done on this series. In the sense that, I don't think that the boss is that difficult, but the way that I played was so bad. I barely lasted 10 minutes in the fight, so I even had the darkness buff from the Konosuba event, so I lost 6 lives in 10 minutes, which is so bad for this boss. You really can't get away with dying early, and I'm not really sure what I was doing. I have to watch back, but it felt like my movement was just really bad. I was just jumping into a lot of mechanics, getting hit by a lot, and I think it had to do with a lot of the fact that I was worried about my damage. So I tried to stay on the boss for as long as possible, but that got me killed a lot, as opposed to just sitting back and then doing damage and then coming back when it was safe. What I should have done was just play more for survivability rather than damage, because I think by the looks of it, my damage is more than enough, and I just need to stay alive. So I won't be able to run this boss for about another hour because I have to wait for my guild skills to come back, which is fine. I think because the damage requirement isn't as high as V-Healer, doing a 26-minute run or 27-minute run in this boss with less buffs is still possible compared to if I had to do it on V-Healer. I'm just going to reset, mental reset, and then try again after all my skills come back up, all my guild skills. And yeah, I think that this boss is very clearable. I just need to focus on staying alive and not worry too much about trying to do as much damage as possible. So that was my closest attempt so far. I was so close to clearing it. I had about 15% left on the boss, and I think if I had survived that last sequence at the very end, I probably could have had the clear. It was 15%, so maybe one more origin burst and a little bit would have been enough to clear it. That was really, really close. And I've realized that this boss, the way that I've been playing it was very incorrect. So I had to really adjust the way that I was playing in this and trying to refocus on what I had to dodge and what I couldn't get hit by. And yeah, it's just a lot of learning that I have to do. I think the main thing is I have to really try to keep an eye on my HP and keep in mind how often I can heal. And a lot of this fight is knowing when you can take damage. For me, I lost 2 of my lives really early because at that point I still think I was processing it, but then for the last 80% of the fight, I didn't really die, which was good. I survived about 70% of the entire boss's HP on 3 lives, so the next time that I can do it, I should be able to clear. But unfortunately, it is the day before reset and I am out of attempts for hard Dark Knell, so I'm gonna have to go back and do normal Dark Knell. So I'm gonna go do this and grab the crystal, and maybe we'll try Dark Knell another time. With that done though, I think that'll be all for this video. I don't think that I have it in me at the moment to go for another try of hard Dark Knell. I might have to leave it for next time. So unfortunately we'll go this week without having a hard Dark Knell clear, which is fine. We got a new boss out of the way, actually 2 new bosses with hard Lucid and hard V-Healer. So that is definitely improvement on the account. Now it's just a matter of refining those bosses to make sure I can clear those every week. I really don't want it to be like Hard Will, where it took me multiple tries to get the clear, because it does take a lot of time and each try is half an hour. And if I have to do that for every one of those bosses, it's going to be very tedious, and I kind of just want to not have to worry too much about it. Gonna come down to my practice and making sure that I play well on those bosses, so we'll just see how we go. Anyway guys, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate you guys supporting me on this journey so far. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the videos and the series as it is, and I really do appreciate all you guys for the comments as well. Thanks again for watching, take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one.